Hi, we're at Digital Collective with Bon and Bao, Global Director of Digital and Social Media for PepsiCo. What insights do you have for digital marketers in learning to establish social media community and how to sustain it?
What insights do I have on community building? Well, first, I think community building is probably the skill that every single person needs to learn. I think that is going to be kind of the race towards talent in the digital marketing and communication space will be around community building. I think the first thing is there are a lot of great community builders out there. So start off by looking at what they've done, and I'm thinking of the Starbucks folks, the PepsiCo folks. Folks like Chris Brogan, Brian Solis, all those kind of folks, Blog Her and what they've done, those folks. And then I think the real key is to know thyself and know thy community, know why you exist or why your brand exists, and also know why your community is participating with that brand, and then service those needs. And I think there was a lot of conversation today about listening. Listening is clearly crucial, but I also think adding value, and I think now it's as much about adding value as creating shared value with the community. So I think that when I look at what the refresh community looks like, and the fact that we're in constant communication with them, but at the same time we're adding constant value, and I think that's been testament to its success, and it's huge opportunity for us.
What's the greatest misuse of social media that you're seeing right now among the marketing community?
Look, I think it's so early to say what's the best, what's the worst, what's the it's like people are like 10 years after the car was, but what is the best car? I don't know. I think that we're really in a very young stage, and I think 15 years, like the internet hasn't even reached puberty yet, so it's like I don't know what the best and the worst is. I mean, I think you see all different types of approaches, from people using it for push messaging, and maybe there's a role for that. People using it for deep engagement. I think the wins are the folks that use it in an integrated fashion. So I think it's that deep integration with programming overall. So I think when you're moving from here's social, here's digital, here's traditional, into a full engagement model, and I talk about moving from impressions to connection. So how do we connect the things that we're doing out here for scaled impressions into a deeper connected experience? Those are the folks that are going to win. And I think, right now, my prediction is we're going to see Facebook Bowl. We're going to see a lot of folks just swapping out a URL for a Facebook URL. And I question if that's really integrating. And so I guess, we as a community have to be very careful that we're not just going down another path that's going to get us to a place where we're using a small portion of the value of the technology, and that we actually have to think about how do we integrate it into planning cycles, into thinking around programming. And that's what I think is testament to the work that's been done by the wonderful people at my organization across the Pepsi business. And that's why it's exciting to be a part of that, because when you sit back and think about it, it was an integrated program across the entire brand.
So you're sort of talking a little bit about impulsiveness also in the community, in the industry, and how do you at PepsiCo avoid going down that path of being too impulsive and too knee-jerk when new trends emerge?
Look, my head is in a weird place. I'm not adverse to impulsiveness. I'm adverse to betting the farm on impulse that you're not necessarily trying to play out with some type of structured risk, But I think that we are in a culture or we're in a state in marketing where, and I talk about this as digital R&D, where we need to do more experimentation. At the end of the day, any executive can have a gut reaction to a TV spot. They can tell you whether a TV spot is good or bad. You could argue that's because they've been buying media for a long time, but most likely it's because they are a consumer themselves and they've experimented or seen a ton of spots. Whereas it's very difficult for a lot of executives across organizations to be able to look at a digital activation or a social activation and have a gut reaction, primarily because they just haven't touched it enough. So I feel like we need to experiment a lot more. We need to know that you can't put chlorine and benzene together without it exploding. We need to have that experimentation in order to be able to make these kind of gut things. So I'm not against experimentation. I guess that's it's structured experimentation versus impulse experimentation.
Terrific. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Bon and Bao, Digital Collective.